Little video on how to do Endplay on a 5600. To start with the main shaft, you set up your dial indicator on something flat that it won't move or anything. And then you set your thing to 0. It's gonna change a little bit depending on where it sits at on the shaft. And when you hit those little bumps, it's hard to see, it will move your dial indicator. So just get it right on the flat part. Reset this to 0. Sorry, it won't focus for some reason. 0. Then you take your pry bar, you stick it in here right underneath the main shaft. Sorry, it's kind of hard to see. Then you pry on it and you watch and see how much it goes up. It's kind of hard to do with one hand, but I got it to go all the way to 48 thou. So I took 48 thou. Obviously this is simple math, but 48 thou minus 2 thousandths, which is the tight end of the spec, 2 to 6 thou, gives you 46 thousandths of an inch shim. Then you take and you measure your shims. Here's main and counter. You measure them, and I'll flip this over so I can show you where the shim goes next. Once you rotate the transmission, you pull out your input retainer bolts, and when you're checking this, you got to make sure that you always torque your input retainer bolts to 20 foot-pounds. This is where your main shaft shim goes. Your counter shaft shim will go in between this spacer in here. I can't get it. In between this spacer, and there is also an input shaft seal that goes in here, and an oil diverter that goes in here. But I'm not going to put them in until after I set my Endplay, then I'll check it again. But on these torque, I like to go from inside cross pattern out and work my way out. And spec is 20 foot-pounds. I have this great big extension on here, so I went roughly 22. And check it every time with the torque. It's annoying to do over and over, but you got to. We've worked our way down to about 5, looks like. And you want to spin it and check other spots, but it's a little looser than I'd like it to be. You want to be closer to the 2. That way it has room to grow. At the main shaft, figured out, we come over here to the counter shaft, set this up so it's nice and straight both ways, this way and this way. You take your main shaft and you can turn it until you find the best spot. Take your pry bar. This is the only spot I could find. I'm sure there's a better spot, but right in there, and you pry up and down on it. And the most I could get out of it is about 12. So we're gonna go 12 minus 2, 10 thou shim. Okay, once you get your main shaft and counter shaft to 2 to 6 thousandths of an inch, you're gonna wanna pull this off, put your input shaft seal on, and your oil diverter in the input shaft retainer. Put some anaerobic sealer on there, put it on. 20 foot-pounds is the torque spec on that. Then the only thing left for this is your reverse counter shaft. That before you put your tail housing on, you have to measure the protrusion to put shims in there, because you can't measure it with a dial indicator. I have another video on that, didn't include it with this if you want to check that out. But other than that, you're good to go. So hope this helps. Make sure to like and subscribe.